Eric, I know it's more than just his scoring, but Jimmy just seems to be finding, as you get deeper into the playoffs, just finding new ways to put his thumbprint on games. And was the second half maybe just a continuation of him raising whatever bar he set for himself in these playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, each level and round the competition is raised, and you can sense it, you can feel it. It's a very good team over there, well-schooled. They know what they want to try to get to. They put a tremendous amount of pressure on you in the paint. I mean, that was almost record-setting what they were doing, to our defense in the first half in terms of getting into the paint and breaking us down. And then, Jimmy just really inspired everybody in that third quarter. Those two steals kind of changed the momentum. And then every time and pocket in the game when we needed to control, the game or get the right shot or make the right decision, Jimmy had his fingerprints on that. You're seeing great two-way basketball really on both sides. He was lined up against a great player, the entire game. That great player was lined up against him. This is what it's all about, elite two-way basketball.
Eric, that third quarter, we know what we see, but even before Jimmy's two steals and then the dunk, there was so much else going on. What do you see that turns a game like that? What specifically did your team do in that burst that finally...
It wasn't one play. It was multiple effort plays that our group ignites from that inspiration. It could be Tuck diving on the floor, making an extra effort, batting the ball away, Bam's block, Jimmy, the two steals, the closeouts, by Max, Gabe, coming in there and digging out some loose balls when they have an opportunity to dunk it, underneath. The guys were just really, disappointed at halftime. I barely needed to say anything. Everybody was just disappointed at our defensive effort and focus. But look, this is a very good team that we're playing against. So it's not only us, saying that, hey, we have to do that better. They're putting a lot of pressure, on our defense. And, that's what you expect when you get to this level.
You mentioned the first half, how they were breaking the defense down, and I think they were 16 of 20 at the rim in the first half, which was pretty uncharacteristic. What was fixed on that in the second half?
We contained the ball at the point of attack a little bit better. To say that you can do that mano-a-mano without any kind of help is totally unrealistic. It has to be a team defense. You have to, get in the gaps. You have to rotate. You have to make multiple efforts. They're going to get you scrambling at some point because they're going to, even as if you cut off the first drive or the second drive, there's going to be a spin dribble and then a scramble. As they make a pass out, you've got to, get to a three-point shooter, get him off the line, and then it just begins when the shot goes up. There's going to be a lot of grappling, blocking out, and then you got to go up in traffic and get it. We just made a lot more plays in that second half.
How important was PJ kind of coming back from that injury and then kind of being there and during that key third quarter run for you guys?
I feel like I've said this about, a bunch of our guys, that the heartbeat of our team, because Bam is, obviously Jimmy is, but Tuck for sure is. He inspires everybody. And by the time that I had walked into the locker room, he looked at me dead in the eye and said, "Don't even think about it. I'm playing, in the second half." I'm like, all right, I wasn't questioning it, but what he does, doesn't really get noticed by, everybody out there, because I don't have my glasses. I don't even know what his stat line was, but, you're talking about one of the toughest covers. And then when he's on the weak side, he does all the right things. He's like a great linebacker. He just gets everybody organized, and he communicates so well, guys get to their spots.
Eric, you've spoken to us all year about the great transition that Gabe has made from undersized scorer to playmaker. But players tend to retain their instincts. Are there times when you like to see that come out? It seemed like Gabe knew that he had to turn a little more in the third quarter toward that to get you going. Is it nice to know that he still has that there for opening when required?
Yeah, but I think the biggest part of his development is just making winning basketball plays and not trying to be what anybody might think he has to be, whether that's a gunslinger, whether that's just a a setup guy, or somebody to try to fill Kyle's shoes. He's a different player, but he has so much experience with us. I know he doesn't have like extensive NBA experience, but he has 3 years with us. He's not a 20-year-old. He's a pro, and he's earned a lot of confidence in the locker room, and he knows how to bring out different things. Whether he needs to get the ball to certain guys like Jimmy, or we needed a spark. We needed some shooting, in that second half, and he was able to provide that.
Getting back to Jimmy for a second, what is it about his personality that allows him to raise the level of his own game as the platform and the games themselves get bigger?
I said this before. Jimmy Butler is an elite competitor. There's a lot of guys in this league that are playing basketball. He's competing to win. That's a totally different thing, and he does that as well as anybody in this league.
How important was transition basketball tonight? Both teams seemed intent on running off of misses.
I mean, of course, right? You have two really good defenses. You're looking for any kind of advantages in the margins. Whatever we're saying, I guarantee they're saying it, and they definitely did that to us in the first half.
Actually, going back to that first half, or halftime, we should say, you mentioned that you didn't really have to say anything to the guys. They kind of had the understanding of what was going on. What kind of was the gut check moment where things did change there in the third quarter?
Just getting a few more stops. We're accustomed to getting multiple stops in a row. Like, I'm sure Boston, feels the same way. You have two teams that are kind of mirror images, just in terms of the competitiveness defensively. And when that's not happening, there's a lot of emotions. There can be disappointment, frustration, anger, like all of that. And that's what this whole series is going to be about.
Their defense at the very start of the game seemed to hit you guys pretty hard.
Yeah.
Maybe first 10 or 12 possessions. What was that first timeout?
You got to get used to it. This is different than, and they've, each level you go, you're going to get a higher level. The four teams that are still around are committed defensive teams. You're not going to just come down and, a simple action and get a wide open shot. You're going to have to really do things with detail. Every detail matters in a series like this, and we have great respect. It's not as if our guys haven't seen Boston play this year. You take notice when they're holding teams under 90, like consistently. What they do is really unique, and you got to do things with great purpose.
Eric, you talk about Jimmy's competitiveness and doing a little bit of everything for you guys, but he's already scored 36 or more times in the playoffs than he did in the entire regular season. Most guys' playoff scoring numbers go down.
Yeah.
Is some of this just the way you guys go going over the scouting reports or any of that kind of stuff?
Obviously everything is, you have heightened attention to detail. But again, I don't want to get a long dissertation about it. If you're driven by competition, and the stakes get raised, you're going to raise your level of play. And it's not about, trying to get bigger numbers or it's about doing what's required. And this level is a high level, this competition. And he senses it, and he knows it, he feels it. And he was able to produce and put us in a position, to feel comfortable to be able to win this game tonight.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gabe, Coach spoke so often this season about your transition from undersized scorer to someone learning to be more of a playmaker, but it seems like there are always those innate instincts to do what you've done before. Did you sort of feel in that third quarter that it was just sort of go time with the offense to be part of the spark of the way you guys just had a takeoff point there?
I mean, after half, I definitely want to be more aggressive offensively, but I was more thinking about defense. You know, everything they had in the first half was just way too easy, and I was just trying to make plays defensively and pick our pace up.
Those 3 blocks are a career high tonight, and I guess you could kind of categorize them. They categorize them as blocks, yeah. But
I feel about that.
what did you see? What what were you looking for when Rob got the ball and you stopped? You saved like 6 points with those blocks too.
Yeah, I mean, I just was, like I said, trying to make plays defensively. They were doing a great job of dropping it off to him, especially if it was a lob. But anytime it wasn't, if he brought it down, I'm trying to get the ball. So I just ended up being right in front of it, was able to get a hand on it, and we were able to get out and run the other way.
Gabe, Eric just said that early on it was talk about getting used to that intensity that Boston's going to bring, that Boston's going to play with. How much of that was a factor early on, and did it take a couple of minutes to sort of get used to their speed and what they're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, they're a very physical team, and they came out the gate with that. And that's something we had to respond to and get back to being who we were, like we did in the second half.
Gabe, it's been 2 incredible third-quarter bursts to begin the third game, 6 Philly, and here. Spo said at halftime he really didn't have to say much tonight. Could you share who spoke a good deal at halftime? What sort of inspired you? What guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think UD's voice was heard a lot. PJ's voice was heard a lot. Jimmy, Kyle, our typical leaders that everyone knows. They spoke up, and other guys chimed in. I think everyone said something. All 17 said something at some point. So it was very player-led at half, and Spo came in and cleaned up some details, and we went out there and picked up our intensity.
How important was the ball pressure in the second half, especially compared to the first half? And was that sort of one of the priorities that you guys talked about?
A little bit. I mean, we wanted them to feel us. They were just way too comfortable in the first half. So I don't know if it was necessarily ball pressure, but we needed to pick up something defensively, and I guess that was a part of it.
You mentioned wanting to pick up the pace in the third quarter. How important is transition right now? Was it tonight and in this series for you guys, running off makes, running off misses?
I mean, that's easy buckets. Anytime you can get some easy, cheap ones, that always helps. But obviously, it's a lot easier to do off misses. I will say that.
Gabe, you used a ton as a screener in this game. You mentioned career high in blocks, but it might have been career high in screens. How big was that in this game, just being able to get Jimmy certain mismatches and certain advantages?
Yeah, I mean, that's the playoffs. It's all mismatches and matchups and trying to get the right situation. And it just so happened I ended up being a screener, and it could be someone else game 2. It could be me again. It could be me the whole series, for all I know. So, any chance we get to get the right matchup that we want to attack, and we're going to do what we can to do so.
Gabe, is there any reaction in the locker room, or what was your reaction when you first hear that not only Marcus but Horford isn't going to play just a couple hours before the game starts?
I just said, okay. It didn't change anything for us. We got to come out here, play hard, and get a win. Doesn't matter who's on the floor.
All right, Gabe, thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Hey, Peyton. They went 39-14 in the third quarter, and they opened up obviously a lot more aggressive defensively. Just from your perspective, what did it look like happened?
I mean, we tend to have slow starts in the third quarter through these playoffs, and I think it's just something that we got to really focus in on and try to control that. Other than the third quarter, I think we won every other quarter, so obviously we try not to let that happen next time.
Obviously, Peyton, Jimmy's a tough matchup for you guys, got to the line a bunch. What do you have to do to try to prevent him from, being able to draw those fouls and getting into the paint like he's obviously very good at?
Just not giving him easy free throws. I mean, we bailed him out a couple times, jumped on his pump fake. So, just trying to limit those. Just make everything tough, make him hit tough shots over and over again.
Marcus Smart gave you a speech after that third quarter. What was his message there to try to regroup for you guys?
Just have heart. I think he was just telling us to compete, get after it. We were kind of playing soft there for a little bit, so that's pretty much it.
Peyton, you guys scored 42 points in the paint in the first half, but only 6 in the second half. What changed about how Miami was guarding the interior in the second half?
I think it was kind of we did that to ourselves. We just got to take care of the ball, play how we play, and I think that will take care of it.
When the Heat were really pressuring Tatum and Brown and turning them over, it looked like you guys were struggling to figure out who would play make and how to space around it. Was that an issue, and how did you guys try to work through that?
It's not an issue. Players can make mistakes. We'll come back next game, be ready for it. We'll make adjustments and be ready to go.
Peyton, obviously a lot more minutes for you with Marcus out. How much did you just kind of want to inject some energy when you checked in that first quarter?
Can you say that again?
How much did you want to inject energy in that first quarter?
I just really wanted to, bring energy every time I step on the floor. So, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, so got nothing. You got to give it all.
Peyton, you guys obviously come out of this game. What did you learn from this game? But you've also been very good at bouncing back in that next game. What do you think you have to do in that next game to come away with the victory?
You just control the third quarter. Play how we played. We lost one quarter, so I think we'll make little adjustments, but try to limit free throws and just do what we do.
It's fine. The obvious question is, Ime, what happened in the third quarter from your point of view?
Got out physical. Can you guys hear me? Got out tough, out physical. They looked like they came out in the second half, and wanted to up their physicality and aggression on both ends, and they did that. I don't think we obviously responded well to on either end of the floor. We had eight of our 16 turnovers in that quarter, played in the crowd on offense, got sped up, and then defensively, offensive rebounds, getting muscled around in the post. Some poor fouls, got them to the free throw line, and so, flipped very quickly and just lost our composure. And, we won 3 quarters other than that, but obviously that one's going to stand out. And we semi-bounced back in the fourth and started to play well again and match their physicality, but 39-14 on 2 for 15 is tough to overcome.
Do you come out of this encouraged at all that there's so much that went wrong there in the third quarter that you could clean up a lot of that stuff and you still won first, second, and fourth quarters?
Yeah, of course. Like you mentioned, we won 3 quarters and won the transition battle, won the second chance points battle, won the points in the paint, and really had one poor quarter that hurt us. And it was strictly from a physicality standpoint. It wasn't anything different that they did. They just came out and imposed their will. And so, like I said, we bounced back in the fourth and got it to a 9-8-point game, started to play a little bit, match their physicality, but, disappointing that we came out as flat as we did, and they just increased physicality, strictly that, and made that much of a difference.
Ime, in the middle, how do you sum up what they did on Jason there in the third? 6 turnovers, a lot more engaged, or was he a little bit too careless?
A little bit of both. Some were unforced. Like I said, they did increase their physicality, but as simple as it sounds, you just can't play in the crowd, which we did not do in the first half and got off the ball. And so 8 of our 6 were, from Jason, and a lot of them were just strictly playing in the crowd, trying to draw a foul, or, instead of just making the right play. And so, we all got caught up in the officiating a little bit in that quarter when they got physical. And I think instead of trying to make the right play or drive and kick, get to the basket, we were looking for fouls, and those led to some of those turnovers.
Ime, how do you respond? Some of those plays, they just took the ball out of your guys' hands. It was toughness. They wanted it more. How do you respond to that? Do you guys have to be tougher?
Of course, and that was the message after the quick timeout to start the half. We talked about it at halftime. They're going to increase the physicality, and it was a little disappointing that we came out and got caught off guard as far as that. But simple cleanups as far as what we've always preached is don't play in the crowd. You draw 2 or 3, find your outlets, and we did that extremely well in the first half. finding guys for kick-out threes and dump-offs at the basket. And so kind of reverted back for one quarter, and it cost us.
Ime, just to kind of follow that up, you had 17 first-half assists with the ball movement, only 1 in that third quarter. How much is all of that maybe steamroll just as you go on, and how tough is it to watch trying to get your guys to kind of fix and stop and take a breather and go? And with that said, how much do you think you missed Horford and Smart maybe in a place like that?
I wouldn't say it's anything tough to clean up because we got back to it in the fourth quarter. We did it for 3 quarters, and obviously you make 2 baskets only, and you're going to get 1 assist in that quarter. It was just more so the things that we didn't do, which were making the simple pass, not playing in the crowd, and that led to those turnovers. So nothing that we can't clean up. We've been doing it, for the most part all season, especially the second half and in the playoffs. And it was no different from Milwaukee or Brooklyn or the teams that really load up on those guys. It's just we got caught up in the physicality and tried to draw fouls instead of making the right read. So, obviously Al and Marcus, 2 are veteran guys that kind of calm us down at times. You might miss that some, but like I said, it was a little bit of everybody. It wasn't just young guys and Peyton and those guys. It was Jason and some of our veterans making the same mistakes, so no excuse there.
2 questions for you, maybe. First, with Rob in the fourth quarter there, it seemed like he may have hurt his knee again there. Is he any update to him? What happened with him there? And then how much, if at all, in terms of the third quarter, when they upped their physicality, did you see just, some tired legs with a quick turnaround for you guys and obviously being undermanned as well?
I think Rob just got a cramp in his calf, from what I heard, so nothing to do with his knee. I don't want to use the excuse of tired legs because we played an extremely good first half in general. We're energized and came out flat in the third quarter, so don't want to say it was anything to do with fatigue. They increased their physicality. We didn't handle it well.
Jimmy Butler had a line that no one in NBA history has had since they started recording blocks and steals. But with the 49 points and getting to the line as frequently as he did, what more can you guys do against him, or why was he able to be so effective?
Some over-aggressive on defense. Got some favorable matchups that he drew some fouls on as well. And then just, even when our bigs were coming across reaching for no reason, we know he's a guy that wants to get to the free throw line, wants to pump fake and try to draw fouls, and did a poor job showing our hands and contesting there. Even Rob and Tyson, some of those guys came over and swiped down and put him at the free throw line for no reason. So a lot of areas we can clean up easily. There you go.
PJ, we know it's not easy and it shouldn't be easy in the playoffs, so I'm not saying that, but what you guys did in the third quarter, when you turned into your best version of yourself, what's that feeling like when you get it going on both ends like that?
It's like what took us so long. And that's something we got to figure out. We got to get to it faster. Took us a long time to get aggressive. They were an aggressive team in the first half. We were way too soft, and they got to pretty much everything they wanted. And then we finally picked it up in the third quarter.
BJ Spo mentioned that too, about how much they were breaking down your defense and getting in the paint in the first half. What exactly was fixed in that third quarter that kept them out of the paint?
Start guarding. Start taking pride in getting kills. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Getting in situations, they call people up. It's having the right coverage, being aggressive, stand in front, moving your feet, not fouling. It's doing all of that. You got multiple efforts. It's conference finals. You can't just do one thing, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in single possession sometimes, whatever it takes. But we finally got that effort in the second half.
PJ, you've talked a little about being pressed by Jimmy this year and him doing things that maybe you didn't even think he could do. The way he raises his game in the postseason, though, they say there are guys who are 82-game players or playoff players, 16 players. What have you seen from him that allows him to do that?
He's a pro. He's a pro. He really is. He takes care of his body, comes in, works on his game every day. He does everything he needs to do to be able to prepare, to be able to be, a great player. I see it every day. So, that's, when you see him come out and have games like he's having, it makes sense.
PJ, to follow up on that, you mentioned it the other night a little bit in Philly, but how would you describe the emotional lift that everybody else gets when you've got a guy like Jimmy who consistently keeps playing at this level?
I think it just puts his aggression just puts everybody else in their places. I mean, you can't expect him to get 40, but he's been consistently being aggressive, whether he's making shots, missing shots, whatever the case is, and that puts everybody else in position to be able to, rebound or get open shots with people helping and him making plays for everybody else and them having to overreact. It lifts the level of our team, and it lifts the play of everybody. So that's something that everybody on our team has a part in their own role.
PJ, can you describe for us sort of what happened there in the second quarter? Was it your ankle or something? And
Yeah, I rolled my ankle.
did you know at that point that you would come back, or where did you?
I always come back.
What happened in the locker room? Like, what did you treat
It's
it or anything?
a genie back there. Took one of my wishes.
All right, PJ, thank you.
Cool, thanks.
Bam, you've been Jimmy's teammate for 3 years. Obviously, you've seen how good he is. But is there anything in this postseason run that's made you go, now that's really something?
I mean, he's just been relentless. I mean, that's the bottom line. He's playing incredible basketball, getting guys open, and doing it on both ends.
Bam, the third quarter, what happened? Why did one change so dramatically there from what we saw in the first half, and you just sort of just pulled away there? What was it?
I feel like our energy shift. That was the biggest key. Our energy shift. We started getting stops on defense and running and getting in transition, and the crowd got into it.
And with how good their half-court defense is usually, how important are sequences like that third quarter where your defense is constantly feeding your offense? How important are those going to be to the series?
Just because it's, we're able to get out in transition. I feel like that's the biggest thing, being able to get half-court stops and then being able to run in transition. We want to live like that. Coach doesn't want us to run plays. Just get in transition and go.
Bam, Horford is such a tough matchup throughout the league. And to whatever degree you spent time preparing to go up against him, you find out probably right when you get to the arena. Good Lord.
Bam.
We're trying to talk here, and you show up with the sleeve monster got you.
I should be late.
Bam,
You crazy, bro.
You show up to the arena and you find out that Horford's not going to play. What goes through your mind, and how do you have to adjust when you find out something about that?
We don't adjust. We stick to what we do, and we scheme differently. Whoever starts.
Bam, you've been the NBA's best team in postseason in the third quarter at scoring teams by well over 80 in the third. What is it about this team that makes it have those strong second half runs?
I don't know. I guess we just wake up. I don't know. The energy really shifted in the third. Guys start making shots, and then it's like a snowball effect.
That block you had on Brown, I think that possession started with you pushing him out near half court for him to get that catch. But it did seem like he had a half step on you. Did you ever feel like you were beat on that play, or did you feel like you were right there the whole time? And then even the next play, Tatum tried to ISO against you, and I think you stripped him or deflected the ball. How much pride do you take in that sequence right there?
I mean, that's the part of the third quarter. That's what got us fueled. That's what got our juices going. And plays like that can change a game. You see a guy do a crazy block like that, and the energy gets into the crowd. The room just becomes an ocean. We start running in transition.
Did you ever feel like you got beat on that play?
He had a step, but I don't like to give up on plays.
Tyler, this is for you on both of your arms. In the first half, when the offense wasn't fully there, yes, we're impressed, Bam. In the first half, when the offense wasn't fully there, you sort of kept things going. How important was it for you to sort of keep things afloat, knowing the other guys are going to sort of come aboard and get it going also?
Yeah, I just wanted to come in and provide a spark. Whether it's scoring, making plays for my teammates, whatever it is, just coming in and, not having any drop off, from the starting five to the second unit that comes in. So just wanted to be aggressive and, get everyone involved.
Tyler, you always talk about how comfortable you are against drop. Were you surprised at all that they mixed in some drop there early and kind of got you going?
Not really. I kind of expected it, coming in, especially with Tice and their fives. But, we'll see what they do, in game two if they make an adjustment. So we'll see.
All right, guys, thank you.
Lives matter.
You've always been one of those all-star players whose contributions can never be measured by points because of all that you do. But are you getting sort of a kick out of these huge offensive nights, 3 40-point games, obviously, in the first 12 playoff games?
Not really. I think I speak for my teammates in the Miami Heat organization whenever I say I know what I'm capable of. And I don't do this to score 40 points. I play the way that I play to win, by all means necessary. And it just so happened that I scored 40. But if I score 40 and lose, I'm gonna be really pissed off.
Jimmy, when you look at the totality of the rest of the line, though, the 9 rebounds, whatever it was, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. Nobody's ever done that with 40 in a playoff game. And then when the shrug, I know it doesn't matter, but
So what you're asking me for?
Because it has to matter a little bit, or does that show you? Does that further illustrate the type of player that you are? I mean, you always say you're just trying to make the right basketball play. People make them. People just don't make as many of them as you tend to have made in this postseason.
Nope. I have so much trust in my teammates, and I will continue to play that way. I've been a quote-unquote scorer at other points in my career, and it didn't work out too well for me. So I'm glad that I have the guys that I have around me and with me, and I know that they're going to fight and go to war to battle with me every single day. So I'm going to keep trusting them, and I'm going to keep giving them the ball.
Jimmy, why do the biggest stages bring the best out of your game?
Probably because I don't care if it's a big stage or a little stage or who's watching. I do what I do for my family, for my people, for my organization, and for my teammates. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's a big stage, home or away. I know why I do what I do.
To that point, you've always said it's about winning. You don't care about the numbers. Having said that, how confident are you that if the game opens up in a certain way, you can maintain your offensive level throughout this series?
I'm pretty confident. I think I've been putting a lot of work in with Chris Brickley every single night. He's been a blessing to me and in my career. That as long as I keep working, I think I can help us win 3 more games in this series and hopefully 4 more after this one when we get that opportunity.
Jimmy, Coach Spo said you guys are a group that ignites from inspiration. Can you talk about the collective fuel or energy you felt coming into the third quarter right out of the locker room?
It's crazy because he didn't have to say too much. We already knew what we were doing wrong, turning the ball over, not getting back. And so we talked about it and we came out and I was like, you know what? We're at home. We got to play better basketball. We got to play better as a team. We did that, went on a little run. But this was just a win. It wasn't a really good win like we want to have because we had a lot of lapses for sure mentally. And we can learn from our wins just like we can learn from our losses.
Jimmy, not every third quarter is going to be 39-14, but when the defense is really feeding the offense there, what do you think about that third quarter run can carry over in the future games of the series?
More than anything, it just shows us what we're capable of whenever we worry about getting stops, getting into the open floor, getting to the free throw line, all of those good things.
it just reminds me that we can do it. I see it on this piece of paper. I lived it, so I expect us to be able to do that every quarter from here on out.
Hey, Jimmy. Kind of piggybacking on that a little bit, Tatum had 6 turnovers in the third quarter himself. You guys obviously were able to control him. How much did the defense spark everything else you guys were able to do in the third?
I've said it all year long. Whenever we let our defense dictate our offense, we're a much better team. We get stops, we get into the open floor, we whip that ball around to our shooters, and that's the style of basketball we call Miami Heat basketball. Gritty, dog-like, worried about getting stops instead of worried about getting buckets.
Jimmy, how much do you enjoy sort of the mental part of the playoffs and preparing for one team that you know you're going to face anywhere from 4 to 7 games, as opposed to maybe the regular season where it's night to night to night?
I think it's a blessing to be able to play basketball at the highest level. Yeah, it's a little bit tougher whenever you got to beat the same group of guys 4 times. But I think we're all really, really blessed to be able to do what we do for a living, and I don't overlook that. But more than anything, I enjoy going to battle with the guys that I got against the Boston Celtics for another 3 wins.
You had those 2 straight passing lane steals in that third quarter, but they were preceded by 2 straight stops from Bam, the block on Brown, and then I think he stripped Tatum. How much does his defense sort of fuel your defense in that regard?
It allows me to be me and so many other people to be themselves too. I've said it all year long, and I mean it. Bam's really the engine behind us, and I don't think stats really say all the numbers and how well of a game that he played, because he sets great screens, he gets everybody open, he's making people pass the ball where we want the ball to go, and you got to pay attention to him on both sides of the floor. So as I've said all year long, he's a big part of what we're doing, and he will be for these next 7 games that we want to win.
Jimmy, on the topic of your back-to-back steals, do you feel in any way that your steals are kind of like shooting in a way where that first one you get, then the second one is kind of you commit fully to the ball? Or how does that kind of work for you personally when you're able to kind of fully go in for that?
I don't know. I tell you right now, Spo doesn't like me. He doesn't like whenever I do it. Luckily, I was 2 for 2 on those particular shoot-the-gap passing lanes, but I don't get them all the time, and then you see him give a look over there, but I feel like I think I can get 10 out of 10. It doesn't always work that way, and it helps us go on a little run.
Jimmy, you said that you don't do this to score 40, but coming into a series like this where you know it's going to be extra physical, do you come out in game 1 looking to get to the line a bunch of times like you did to kind of set a tone?
I like physicality. Like, I want to run into people and see who falls down first, who's going to quit first. I think that's a style of basketball I like to play, and so do they. And, I was 0 for 2 from 3 tonight. I want to go 0 for 0 next game because I just want to keep banging into people.
It seems like after a bunch of those stops, you and PJ were high-fiving and kind of celebrating and things like that. I mean, can you describe sort of, the bond that you guys have formed and what it's like to have him as a teammate?
I didn't know I would fall in love with a basketball player as much as I have with PJ. Seriously, because he just plays incredibly hard, and then he got the tough job every night of guarding the opposing team's best player, and then going down there and shooting the ball 5 times. You gotta respect that, because some guys are like, and I even get like this at times. I'll be like, man, I'm not just going out here to play defense and not go down there and shoot the ball. He never, ever, ever complains. And he's one of the biggest reasons why we're winning, because he does all the little things, and it's easy to follow suit whenever you got somebody like that leading your team.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, let's open it for questions for Jalen, please.
Jalen, just from your perspective, what happened in the third quarter?
They went on a run. We got a little bit out of hand, out of sorts, turned the ball over, and just gave up way too many baskets. I think we lost the game in the third quarter.
Jalen, what is it that makes it that you guys have not been able to kind of pull out of these tailspins? You had the fourth quarter in Game 5 against Milwaukee. You had the third quarter here. Why is it that they continue to make their runs? Like after Ime called the timeout in the third quarter, Jimmy had 2 steals, 2 buckets after that. Why can't you guys get that back under control?
We come out and we play basketball. Most of the time we play good basketball. Tonight they got the best of us. We do a good job of responding and answering runs for the most part. It's a part of the game. You know, give credit to Miami. They outplayed us tonight, especially in that third quarter. I got to be better. We got to be better, be more poised in that situation. We go look at the film, and we come back.
Jalen, obviously, Marcus was hopeful that he'd be able to play, couldn't quite do it, and then Al's absence was a pretty big surprise. How does the kind of suddenness of that affect you guys in preparations? And I know you guys generally have gone through stuff like this a lot this year, but something you really weren't prepared for. And how do you kind of bounce back if Al even isn't allowed to play the next game?
We just gotta be even more disciplined. Obviously, we wasn't prepared to be without Al, and you know, we definitely wasn't prepared to be without Al and Smart. So it's not an excuse. We got to be better. We still had control of the game in the first half. We lost control in the third quarter in a little bit, and we just got to be better. Got to play better on both sides of the ball. More discipline. We foul entirely too much, and we let the game slip away from us. You know, that's the story.
Jalen, felt like Ime was really getting in you guys during one of the timeouts, and I know Marcus was saying some words during one of them. What sort of things were being said in timeout to try to stop those runs during the third?
During that time, they was the harder playing team. You know, they was beating us at 50-50 balls. It just seemed like everything was going their way, and we were kind of standing around watching, and that's not what we do. We got to get in there, get in the mix, be more physical, master physicality, master intensity. And we didn't, you know, like I said before, I got to be better. I will be better. The Celtics, we got to be better. And that wasn't, you know, our best effort. We gotta put our best foot forward playing against a team like Miami, and they outplayed us tonight.
Jalen, over your last 3 games, you're averaging over 40 minutes a night. How realistic is it to be able to keep that up?
It's very realistic. It's the playoffs, you know. It's lose or go home. You got to be able to, you know, I worked my whole season to be in these moments. You know, my body is fine. I just got to be able to make the right plays and see the game and read the game. And tonight wasn't my better game doing that. I got to handle those situations a little bit better. I got a rhythm going later in the fourth quarter, and I think that was good carryover into the next game. But I definitely got to be better for our team.
These first 2 series you guys had, you're going against KD, Giannis, like 2 giant stars you can see everywhere. The whole defense is kind of focused on them. Then tonight, when Miami made that big run, it was a lot of Butler just kind of sneaking out of nowhere to steal the ball, get a box out, stuff like that. So how much is just the way that he kind of likes to lurk in the shadows, throw you guys off tonight?
That's what he does. You know, we knew that going in. Obviously, it's a new series, so we just got to be able to transition better. Tonight wasn't our best night. But we let him get away with too much. You know, 18 free throws, you know, that's way too many. So we got to be better. That's all I can say.
Jalen, along those lines, you guys have been very good at responding after losses all postseason. What kind of things go through your mind as you get ready for Game 2? What kind of things can you learn from a night like this that you need to take into Game 2?
You watch the film. When you see things, the film doesn't lie. So you get to see, you know, where you lost the game. You know, you get to see all the details, and that's what we're looking forward to seeing and breaking down and seeing what we can come out and do better. for next game. Uncharacteristic of us to give up 118 points, and we can do better. I know we can. So we gotta, transition to the next game, almost learn from it, leave it behind, and get ready for the next one. That's it.
Going back to Jimmy, how unique of a challenge is he, the way that he's playing in this postseason right now?
He's comfortable. He's very comfortable right now. And we got to do a better job of breaking that rhythm that he's in. And that's it. We got to take the challenge.
Jalen, how do you match their toughness with toughness of your own? Because they seem to have kind of a mental thing going back 2 years ago over you guys. How do you combat that?
We come out and we play basketball. At the end of the day, that's what it is. We got a lot of tough guys in our locker room that won't back down. I mean, we were without two of them tonight. But we got a tough team, resilient team. So hopefully we get some of those guys back. But even if not, we still could play a lot better than we did tonight. So I'm looking forward to the next game. We just got to come out and play better.
All right, we'll open up for questions for Jason.
Jason, during that run in the third quarter, felt like Ime was really digging in you guys in the timeout. Marcus said some words. What gets said in those situations to try to stop a run like the Heat were on there?
Just try to regroup, regather, and, not let it snowball like it did. Myself included, too many turnovers. I got to play better in those situations, but just try and regroup in those moments.
Hey, Jason, you guys overall had 8 turnovers in that quarter. Just how much did they get into you? Did they sped you guys up? Just from your perspective, what happened?
Yeah, they came out. Obviously, they was down at halftime, so, they came out playing hard in the third quarter. It's on me. I had 6, 7 turnovers. Just knowing that I got to take care of the ball better, especially in those situations when they're going on runs like that.
Jason, you were obviously in such a great rhythm in the first half, both you and the team as a whole. Was it just as simple as their physicality getting you guys out of sorts, or did anything else cause, the way things played out in the second half or in the third quarter to play out the way they did?
They came out. Gotta give them credit. They played hard. They, played faster in the second half, and I think we just kind of went away from what was working in the first half. And that's just something we got to be aware of, on Thursday.
When you were going up against Giannis and KD in these first 2 rounds, those were guys that were kind of just in the middle of everything the entire time, while Butler was someone who kind of likes to sneak in between and kind of hide, like when he picked off a few of those swing passes. How different of a challenge has it been for you guys to deal with someone who you kind of have to figure out where he is on the court rather than keep your eyes on where he is the whole time?
Yeah, they do face, propose different challenges, I guess. Just as a team. They got, a lot of guys, really good defenders, play the passing lane. And we knew that coming in. Didn't do a great job, obviously, with the turnovers. But, watch them film tomorrow and make some adjustments.
Jason, you guys are one of the best third quarter teams during the regular season, but that's obviously changed in the past couple of weeks. What has changed there specifically for the third quarter?
I think we just got to come out with a little more sense of urgency in that third. And that's just on all of us. It's a choice that we have to make.
Jason, how much of an adjustment, you mentioned that first game, how much of an adjustment do you find it to be in this series here, with Milwaukee and now with Miami, and what kind of lessons do you learn that you can take into Game 2, and what do you expect from your guys in Game 2?
Expect us to play better. Expect myself to play a lot better. But, we got to watch some film tomorrow, and digest what happened and areas that we can improve on, and learn from, after we watch film tomorrow.
Was there, I don't know, Jason, was there any tape that you watched? I was curious of how they defended Trae Young, how they defended James Harden before the series. Was there anything you learned, if you did, from that?
Yeah. We watch highlights. Not highlights, but film of them, offensively and defensively in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. And they're a really good defensive team. We knew that coming in. We know that now. It's not like, we're surprised by anything.
Jason, we all know that no one wants to be outscored 39-14 in a quarter. No one wants to turn the ball over 6 times in a quarter. When it's happening, and you're saying we're going to go back, we're going to change things, but what's happening in those moments that allows it to get out of control, to snowball, like you said?
I think obviously, I don't want to turn the damn ball over and shit like that, but I guess just out of the course of a game, things happen and they go on runs. That's what they did. And, throughout the course of the playoffs, we've done a great job of responding to runs after, call a timeout, things like that. But, for whatever reason, we didn't today. And, I'll be the first one to say I'll take the blame for that. I got to lead better. I got to play better, especially in those moments. And I'm just looking forward to responding, next game.
Jason, you seemed to pick whatever spot you wanted there in the first half. Had a good connection going with Rob Williams. What really changed there in the third quarter? How much maybe did you feel or see the presence of Bam in the third as opposed to in the first half?
I think in those first 6 minutes, I think they got up like 11 shots to our 3. We was turning the ball, though we weren't getting opportunities at the rim. We weren't getting shots. So, I think that was the story in the third quarter.
All that being said, you guys still won every other quarter in this game. How do you feel leaving here tonight?
We still lost. But, we lost the first game of the last series. It's a long series. As cliche as it sounds, 1st to 4, all that good stuff. Get some rest, watch film tomorrow, just get ready for the next one.